My mother-in-law ruined my wedding dress 3 days before. She said, "You should thank me." I sued her. I should have known something was wrong when Linda asked to see my wedding dress the week before the ceremony. My fiancé David thought it was sweet that his mom wanted to be involved. I thought it was weird because she'd barely spoken to me during our entire engagement. Linda had made it pretty clear she didn't think I was good enough for her precious son. I worked as a nurse, David was a software engineer, and apparently that meant I was only after his money. Never mind that I made decent money myself and we were splitting wedding costs 50-50. But David begged me to let his mom feel included, so I agreed to show her the dress. I'd spent 8 months saving up for it. Found it at this boutique downtown. Simple ivory silk with delicate lace sleeves. Nothing crazy expensive, but it was perfect for me and it cost me $2,000. Linda came over on Tuesday, 3 days before the Saturday wedding. I had the dress hanging in my spare bedroom, still in its protective bag. She asked to see it and I unzipped the bag carefully. Linda walked around it, touching the fabric, examining the stitching. She kept making these little humming sounds like she was thinking hard about something. Then she said the sleeves looked outdated and the length was wrong. I told her the dress was already altered and fitted perfectly. She just smiled and said, "If you say so, dear." Looking back, that smile should have been a massive red flag. The next morning, I had to work a double shift at the hospital. 12 hours straight, came home exhausted around 9 at night. David was at his bachelor party, so I was alone. I went to check on my dress, just wanted to see it one more time before the wedding. The moment I opened the spare bedroom door, my heart stopped. The dress was on the floor, not on its hanger, not in its bag, just laying there on the carpet. I ran over and picked it up, and that's when I saw what she'd done. The lace sleeves were completely cut off, like not carefully removed or altered, just hacked off with scissors. The hemline was cut too, but unevenly, like someone had just started chopping without measuring anything. There were sections where she'd cut 8 inches off and other parts where she'd barely trimmed 2 inches. The silk had runs in it from being handled roughly. My beautiful dress looked like it had been attacked. I called David immediately, couldn't even speak at first because I was crying so hard. He came home from his party and just stared at the dress in shock. We both knew who did this. Linda was the only other person with a key to our apartment. David called his mother and she answered on the first ring. She actually sounded cheerful. When David asked if she'd been in our apartment, she said, "Of course. She came back to fix my dress since I clearly had terrible taste." David put her on speaker. I could hear the smile in her voice when she said, "You should thank me. That old-fashioned dress would have made you look frumpy. I improved it. I lost it." Started yelling about how she destroyed my dress, how the wedding was in 2 days, how she had no right. Linda just laughed and said I was being dramatic, that I should be grateful she saved me from looking ridiculous in front of everyone. David was furious. He told his mother she was no longer invited to the wedding and hung up. But that didn't fix my dress. I called every bridal shop within 30 miles. Nobody had anything in my size that could be ready by Saturday. I ended up wearing a simple white sundress from a department store that cost $80. Not terrible, but not the dress I'd dreamed about. The wedding happened. It was beautiful despite everything, but I couldn't let it go. 2 weeks after the honeymoon, I filed a lawsuit in small claims court. Linda thought I was bluffing right up until she got served papers at her house. She called David screaming about how I was tearing the family apart over a dress. David backed me up completely, told his mother she'd committed destruction of property and needed to face consequences. The court date was in November. I brought photos of the destroyed dress, receipts showing what I paid, quotes from seamstresses saying it couldn't be repaired. Linda brought attitude and excuses, told the judge she was just trying to help, that I was too sensitive, that this was all a big misunderstanding. The judge asked her directly if she cut my dress without permission. Linda said yes, but claimed she thought she was doing me a favor. The judge awarded me $2,000 plus court fees. Linda refused to pay, so they garnished her wages. She tried to get family members to guilt trip me into dropping it, but David shut that down every time. His mom hasn't spoken to either of us since the judgment. Best $2,000 I ever fought for.